One of the things most of my patients is they're having difficulty sleeping. It's going to affect your metabolism, your mood, your energy levels. You're not going to have good muscle growth and recovery from those workouts that you're doing. It's really important to have a good routine when you go to sleep. I like to refer to it as the posture of sleep. What do you do before sleep? Most people tell me they're on their phone, watching TV, they're on Instagram or Facebook. The LED lights that are all on these screens now actually keeps your mind active, and it doesn't allow you to go into proper sleep. So many times your brain is still active and you're not going to be able to actually get to sleep because your brain doesn't think it's time to go to sleep yet, because your brain is still active from that light from whatever device you're using, and your mind just can't stop.
Hey, fitness and health fans, it's game on with another episode of the Sporting Good Posture podcast. Get Coach Margella's advice from the sidelines as he helps you crush your game, no matter what health or fitness game you play.
Hey, I'm Coach Margella. I'm Sporting Good Posture. What are you sporting?
Hey, Coach Margella, what's your advice today?
Welcome back to another episode of Sporting Good Posture. This is Coach Margella here, and today we're going to be talking about the posture of sleep. One of the things I've seen now with most of my patients is they're having difficulty sleeping. Either they can't stay asleep or they can't get to sleep at night. So today I want to address some of the things that I've seen and some tips for you to help you be able to get better sleep and some things to realize why that's happening. So if you remember way back to episode 2, I interviewed Dr. Pat Kennedy, and he's a former Olympic swimmer on the 84 Olympic team, and we talked about sleep hygiene. If you haven't heard that episode, go back to episode 2 with Dr. Kennedy. It's a really great interview. It talks about when he was training for the Olympics and how, he got through everything. And it was really cool to talk to him about that and how an athlete really does train. And when he was talking to me about sleep hygiene, basically that means you have a routine when you go to bed at night. I like to refer to it as the posture of sleep. And it's good to have that routine so that at night you will get that good sleep that you're looking for. And really, sleep is so important for many things, but they're actually coming out with a lot of new studies that are showing that lack of sleep and improper sleep is what's causing a lot of the dementia and Alzheimer's in people. When you sleep, I don't know if you knew this, but when you sleep, you have your body actually cleaning out the toxins that build up during the day. So your brain is like an engine and it runs on fat. And if you don't have your proper sleep, that's the time where your body will actually get rid of the toxins that are burned by using fat as your fuel. So you have to have good sleep so that those toxins don't build up, because those toxins turn into plaque in the brain, and that's what basically causes the Alzheimer's and dementia that we see so commonly now. So really, sleep is the biggest factor on that. But aside from that, when you're younger, the biggest thing about sleep is that it's going to affect your metabolism, it's going to affect your mood, it's going to affect your energy levels. So it's really going to affect a lot of different things. But also when you sleep, your body grows. So if you are working out and you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to have good muscle growth and recovery from those workouts that you're doing. So anyway, it's really important to have a good routine when you go to sleep. The biggest thing that I ask people is, what do you do before sleep? What is typically your routine? And when I ask that, most people tell me, they're on their phone, they're watching TV, they're on Instagram or Facebook, they're doing some kind of electronics right before bed. And one of the biggest problems that people don't get enough sleep is because the light that comes out of these devices, whether it's a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, a TV, whatever it is, that blue light that happens because of the LED lights that are all on these screens now actually keeps your mind active, and it doesn't allow you to go into proper sleep. So if you're watching TV up until the minute before you go to bed, many times your brain is still active and you're not going to be able to actually get to sleep because your brain doesn't think it's time to go to sleep yet. You didn't give it time to wind down and relax and kind of go into that motion of sleeping. It just, if you just turn off the lights and go to bed, a lot of times you're going to sit there awake and wonder why you can't go to sleep. Well, it's because your brain is still active from that light that you had there from whatever device you're using, and your mind just can't stop going. So that's why you just can't get to sleep. So I tell people, about an hour before you want to go to bed, turn off those electronic devices, and don't use your cell phone. because, again, it'll keep you awake. So maybe read a book, maybe listen to some music or something, do something more relaxing. Maybe, if you have a journal and you write about things for the day, just, do it at that time. But that's the kind of time that you want to just do something that doesn't involve electronics. The other thing is that with any kind of electronics, there's a lot of radiation that happens due to those electronics. So especially with cell phones, I don't recommend sleeping with cell phones next to your head or next to, anywhere close to your body, or even wearing, watches like iWatches and stuff like that, because when you wear those, you actually absorb radiation into your body while you're doing that. And radiation, obviously, we know can cause problems with toxins in the body, but also cause cancer and other things to go wrong with the body. So you don't want to be absorbing any unnecessary radiation, because, again, that's going to affect your sleep cycles. So I usually sleep with my phone on the floor next to my bed, because also when the morning comes, it makes me actually get out of bed to go turn the alarm off, so that I'm not just pressing snooze a bunch of times. But that's a talk for another day. But anyway, for bedtime, I recommend not using electronic devices. Have a routine about an hour before you go to bed where you're reading, or you're doing something where you do something that doesn't involve electronics. The other thing is try to do the same thing each night. Have that routine, whether it's you wind down about an hour before, you brush your teeth, you get changed, maybe you take a shower, whatever it is, just try to have that routine. And this way you'll get to sleep. And that's a really important thing to have that, because when people don't have those routines, it's inconsistent, and a lot of times that's causing you not to get good sleep as well. Now, as far as going to sleep, that's usually what I recommend. Now, staying asleep is another thing. So I have a lot of people that tell me that they get to sleep, but then in the middle of the night, they'll wake up several times, not so much to go to the bathroom, but more that their mind is racing and they just can't seem to get it to calm down. So the other thing that I tell people is really do some things throughout the day that are for you, as far as, listening to something positive. Maybe watch a YouTube video that's something that's inspirational, read something that's inspirational, or, that really makes your mind think, is more so than just reading the news or, watching something like that. Something that actually gets your body and your mind in a positive place. You could read the Bible, you could read whatever it is, just something that makes your mind at ease, and stress is a huge thing that people deal with. So when you're trying to get to sleep or stay asleep, that stress level really creeps in on you. And if you find yourself being awake at night, it's because you're not dealing with your stress properly. So as far as, the mental stress, that's one of the things that I see, but also there's the physical stress side of it. And when somebody is dealing with sleep problems, the first thing that I do as a chiropractor when they come in is we check their upper neck. So I see if there's misalignments in there. And again, posture, we go back to posture. And that's one of the biggest things that really relate to better health. And posture that's poor is going to cause poor sleep. And it's just a common denominator that I've seen for many years. So when you have bad posture, you're usually not going to be getting good sleep. What I notice in the upper neck is that you'll have a misalignment, and if it's not corrected, it'll continue to have those problems. Sleep problems, headaches, high blood pressure, chronic fatigue, dizziness, depression, anxiety, ADHD, ADD, all these things will happen by a misalignment of the upper neck. And one of the most common things people notice first is that poor sleep. But when you have that misalignment, it's something that's going to cause you to have dysfunction. You may not even have pain. I have some people come in the office and they're not even in pain, but they just have that sleep issue where they can't figure out why their sleep is, not where it should be. So when they come in, they're not always in pain, but it doesn't mean that there's not an issue. And again, it comes back to posture. Typically, when you take a look at your posture, and if you go back to some previous episodes, we've talked about where you look in the mirror and you can just tell. The biggest thing I can see with the head and the neck is if you drew a straight line down the middle of your mirror, is your head going off to the right or the left of that? And if it is, then something is imbalanced up there. Also, are your shoulders level? If you look at yourself and you can tell that one shoulder is higher than the other, chances are it's also affecting your neck and the upper neck and your head, and it's going to be misaligned there as well. So as a chiropractor, that's one of the biggest things I look for, is that alignment of the upper neck is there. So if you're feeling like that's a problem and you just don't know what's going on, it's good to get checked out, because then you can know for sure. Once somebody comes in, whether you've looked at it yourself or you have come in and get it looked at, we can also take a set of x-rays and really see if there's misalignments up in that neck. And that's one of the best ways that I find to help people get better sleep at night. So again, just to recap a little bit, when you go back home, have that routine at bedtime. Really, spend an hour before kind of winding down before you go to bed. Read something positive, listen to music, get off electronic devices. And again, don't have them next to you while you're sleeping, whether it's a watch or a phone or a tablet or a computer. Just put those to the side so your body really doesn't have any interference so that you can go into those sleep cycles. And try to have the same routine every night. So you brush your teeth, you get changed, you might take a shower, and read something, kind of relax in bed, and then drift off to sleep. Whatever it is that you have, do that same routine every night, because it's important to have that consistency so that you're consistently getting good sleep. The other thing is that don't go to bed too late, because actually if you go to bed past midnight, you're going to get less quality sleep than if you go to bed before midnight. And that's something that I've been reading lately, that's one of the things. If people go to bed past midnight, you're not actually getting into the full sleep cycles. If you go out there, a lot of people unfortunately, they're dealing with these sleep problems, so they look to take medication. And those medications are dangerous in ways, because there'll be some side effects to those, even to the extreme where I've had some people come tell me that they knew somebody that was sleepwalking, on Ambien, and actually walked out of their house off the back of their house into the canal and drowned in the middle of the night. I've even had some people tell me that they sleep drive, where they got a ticket in the mail because a red light ticket came up, and they got it mailed to them and didn't realize they were sleeping. And even to the point where they were taking their kids out in the middle of the night, and in the ticket you could see in the background of that picture on the red light ticket that their kids were sitting in the back seat unstrapped in their car seats. And think about that. I mean, that's the kind of things that can happen when you're not sleeping right. You're taking these medications, and there's a lot of side effects with those. And a lot of times the next day you wake up, you still feel tired. You might have went to sleep, but it was more that you passed out. You didn't actually get good sleep. You didn't go into REM sleep. REM sleep is where you actually have, it's called rapid eye movement, where your body actually goes through the proper sleep cycles, and you get that deep, deep sleep that allows your body to recover, like we were talking about before. If you're taking Ambien, Lunesta, and any of these drugs like that, you're basically just passing out. You're not actually going into REM sleep. So you're not getting good quality sleep. Your body's not regenerating, where you're getting rid of the toxins from your brain burning fat that day. You're not getting recovery from your workouts. You're not helping your metabolism, your blood pressure, all these things, digestion. Your body's not doing what it's supposed to do, because it's not actually the proper sleep cycles. So again, these are really important, because if you're feeling like you're dealing with improper sleep, it's something to take a look at, because it affects you not only currently but in the future. And if those of you out there, if you're trying to lose weight, sleep is a big factor in you losing weight. Not getting enough sleep leads to higher cortisol levels. And if you don't know what cortisol is, it's a hormone that is produced from your kidneys and from the adrenal glands. Your body gets too much cortisol, which makes your body store fat instead of burn fat. And that's completely the opposite of obviously what you want to do. So if your body is not burning fat, it's usually because your cortisol levels are high, and in turn you're not getting proper sleep, or you're not getting into REM sleep like we talked about. So somebody that was doing our lipolaser program, that's one thing I look at to make sure that they're getting good sleep and that their body is actually recovering from the day before, to get them to have better metabolism so that they actually keep the weight off. We've talked about this before, where you've had weight loss, but it may not be permanent like you want. You kind of go up and down. You might lose for a couple months, it'll come back. You lose again, it comes back. To break that cycle, it's important to really look at the other factors. And when someone comes in the office, I really help them look at all the factors that might be affecting them health-wise, especially if they're trying to lose weight, and figure out what's going to help them lose more permanently and keep it off, so it's not this up and down yo-yo effect for the rest of their life. That's just very frustrating, especially when you're putting all the time and effort into working out, eating right, but your body still won't respond. That's where we do a lot of lipolaser visits with people and really just help them get back on track to get them a better result and a more permanent change to their body. So once again, posture really is the ultimate factor in how your body is healing and how healthy you can be. And if your posture's off, whether it's, the upper body or whether it's coming from your feet. It's important to just figure out where it's coming from so that you're not predisposing yourself to injuries, or you're not going to be frustrated when you don't get the results that you want, because again, there's so many things working against you. You got to figure out how your body can work for you. And if you don't figure that out, it's going to be a very frustrating journey where you don't seem like you get any traction on your weight loss or your exercise program because your body just isn't responding like it should. So if you're dealing with something like that, send me a DM at Sporting Good Posture. Tell me what's going on, and I'll tell you what I think. Please listen and reach out to us if there's any episodes that you'd like to hear, any specific topics. I'd love to get your feedback on that, and I'd love to see what we can do to help you more in the future. This is Coach Margella. I'm Sporting Good Posture. How about you?
The Sporting Good Posture podcast is a broadcast wellness production powered by Ideal Health and Wellness Center. All content copyright 2019, all rights reserved. Executive producer Frank Sardella. Dr. Margella appears courtesy of Ideal Health and Wellness Center in Cool Springs. For more information, visit sportinggoodposture.com or follow Coach on Instagram at sportinggoodposture.
A preseason with Jets, Giants.
They're going to play the first quarter, and that's it.
I was going to say, it's just kind of stupid.